Okay, here we go with the first recap. So when we talked about this thing, when you go up to the A string, goal is to, or one goal, is to make sure that like the tip of your finger is actually up underneath the low E string. So this way when you leave that low E string, it's not ringing out. So the index finger is going to be muting the low E string from ringing when you leave the low E string. So that's something we'll be doing more and more of. Anytime your index finger goes to another string, you want to have it up underneath the adjacent string for things like this, where we do like power chord stuff, lead stuff like this. You'll want to have the index finger up underneath. One exception would be playing chords, and like some of the chords we're doing, like the playing these minor and major stuff. Those you don't want your finger up underneath string. So it's kind of it's one of those, depends on what you're playing. You want to have your index finger muting the adjacent strings. So for this, what's on screen, definitely want to be muting. And then you'll keep your fingers down as much as you can the whole time. So the first thing to do is just get comfortable playing the whole thing. So we can keep things simple and just focus on doing just all down strokes right now. So just pick down on everything. So slowly, without a metronome, basically it's going to go like this. And again, keep your fingers down as much as you can. Take your time when you go up to the A string and make sure your index finger is in the right place. And shift up. Make sure that index finger is up underneath the E string still. Okay. So now I'm going to put a metronome on. It's 60 beats a minute. I'm going to count off 4 so you know when I'm going to start, and I'm going to play this like half time for what the notations say on the screen. So basically what you're looking at here are eighth notes, and then here's a quarter note. So technically at 60 beats a minute the count would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I'm going to start off nice and slow here, and we're going to do basically like quarter notes and half notes. So I'm going to be going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to see and hear exactly what I'm talking about in just a moment. So on the count of 4, I'll play this whole thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you start feeling comfortable playing this, follow along with what I just did, and that'll help you start getting used to playing with the metronome. Alright, now I'm going to play it at 80. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it is at 100. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 120. 1, 2, 3, 4. 120, the way I just played it, is going to be the same notes per second as playing it at 60 beats a minute with the eighth note version instead. So I'm going to play it one more time, 60 beats a minute with the eighth notes instead of the quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. A little squeal at the end of the pinch harmonic. Kind of in the habit of ending a lot of things that way. Alright. Number 2. So number 1, that's a good one to do with distortion. This one, doesn't sound too bad with distortion, but for this is a good one to do without distortion. Usually playing quarter arpeggios is better clean or without distortion. This way you can more easily hear when things are played correctly or incorrectly for stuff like this. Alright, so yeah, we talked about distortion. Sometimes it can cover up mistakes, and then sometimes it can expose muting mistakes. So again, it comes down to like, well, what you're playing will determine, if you want distortion on or not. Things like this sound better without distortion. They just sound prettier. So, actually, we'll do that without metronome first. So the first thing to do is just get used to playing it without a metronome. So we just make sure every note sounds good. And then shift the hand down. Maintaining the same chord shape. Shift it. Shift it back up. Shift it again. Okay. So I'm going to demonstrate this with metronome the same way as the last thing. So you got the same rhythm as before. You got the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I'm going to start with doing it half time to make it easier to follow along when you're ready. And we'll start at 60 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 80 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hundred. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 120. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to go back down to 60 beats a minute and play it the way it's written up on the screen, doing the eighth notes instead of the halftime feel. 1, 2, 3, 4. change this here. Okay. Alright, so again, start with just getting used to playing this before doing any follow along here on the video. So we get the ring finger will always be on the minor or the bass note of the minor chords, major chords, your middle finger. Index finger stays on the D string until you get to this B minor. Now you may notice I'm going down, up when I'm picking that. So right now, just keep things simple. If it's easier for you to go down, up, then go ahead and do that. If it's easier for you to just go down, all downstrokes right now, just stick with that. We'll get to the alternate picking eventually. Alright, so just like the others, I'll do this half time first, and build up a little bit, and then go back to playing it just how it's written. Alright, 60 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4. I went and made a mistake. My brain went to a different key. Sorry about that. Take 2, 80 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 100. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now back down to 60, and I'm going to play it just how it's written, with the eighth notes instead of the halftime feel. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so like mentioned yesterday, there's no need to follow along with all of these speeds. It's just when you get to the point you feel comfortable playing this stuff without a metronome, then come back to the video, follow along at the paces that you can, and yeah, just want to give enough options here so once you get comfortable with things, you're able to challenge yourself a little bit more there. So there we go. That's the start. Things will continue to get, grow, get more interesting, more advanced as we go from week to week. So at the start of next week, I'll be asking you to demonstrate all three of these. Probably not with a metronome. I'll just be asking you just kind of just go at your own pace, just play it, see how well it sounds, and how well you do is going to determine what we end up doing next. So that's how all classes are going to go. We start by having you demonstrate what you did, see how it sounds, and move on from there. So if any questions come up before next class, please let me know, and I'll see you again next week.